you are such a great communicator, and I think that you clearly are. You can communicate on a platform, in the media. I mean, you have a talent for that. But the other thing that you are as well is an author, and you have obviously, been able to communicate that as an author. And if it's okay for me to ask this, I think that there are some people out there that it's one of the things I've watched you do is to encourage people to write a book, you know what I mean, and to get that message that they have. Was that one of the first ways that helped you to get the message out, or?
I was encouraged by a very dear friend for 25 years to write my book on water. He specifically wanted it. And, one excuse after another and getting to write a book because we don't believe we can, and who really would listen? And then you're worried about, well, as soon as I have it in a book, what if it all changes? And, of course, it will, and it does. As soon as you write your book, you're going to hate it. You're going to, I can't wait to revise it. And then you'll procrastinate on that. No, it was 25 years after I knew I should write a book that I finally wrote my book. But the book is based on what I teach, how I speak, and it's basically turning that into the printed word. And I truly tried, because everything in my book I wrote. It's not written for me. Most books people don't understand is someone else writes it for you.
Right.
I've written every word,
right,
and except where perhaps Dr. Hyman has contributed something on nutrition. But I tried to keep the written word, as close to my spoken word as possible.
And how did you do that?
Very nicely. Now, I did that actually. I actually had, in this case, Dr. Robin Hyman, spent hours and hours with me, over a table at one of these cafes where they let you just sit there for hours with the computers.
Right.
And I'd literally read out loud what I had already written or from a lecture transcribed, and then redo it and do it again. And I mean, literally going back and forth to where, in as concise a way as possible. It's not about building a big book. It's about having the information in as condensed a way as possible available for people to read in a way that they can understand.
Now, you were saying that you wrote it all out and then you went through that whole process. And have you found a simpler way now?
Oh, good heavens, yes. The simpler way is, first of all, if you don't have anything to say, you certainly don't write a book.
Right.
But if you have a message,
which so many people do,
and so many people don't believe they have that message.
Right.
I used just a man that came into my life, Joel Bauer, spoke at the memorial service. In effect, he didn't even know it, of Dr. Carl Parker, another mentor of mine, just a wonderful person, and he had died Christmas Day, and then the following January, his memorial service for chiropractors, and there's this Joel Bauer speaking, and his mannerisms, I did not particularly like him. Very polarizing intentionally, because his heart and the man is just absolutely beautiful. But he's doing this, but he gave me, at no charge, so many things in the way, what he was sharing and talking about, and how to use a camera to do this. And I said, if this man is willing to give away so much that I knew as a marketer I could really get my message out so much more effectively, I've got to take his training. And it had been a while since I had spent that kind of money on the training. And when I went to his first 2 days, and I've taken a great deal more training with him, he brought out that, look, you may have, this is what I got out of it, you may do all these things, and I did, but you try communicating that to someone all at once, they just choke, and that's exactly what would happen. You say, what do you do, Fred? And your eyeballs would be spinning in the back of the head, and all you want to do is get away, because I'm trying to explain all the things I do.
Like you were explaining to me earlier, and after you get onto information overload, for somebody like me, you just realize you're leaving the room even though you're sitting right there,
Yeah. So, you just chunked it down. I realized, now, what is my passion today? And that's where you should be, in the moment. What are you truly passionate about now? I don't care what you've done. I don't care what you want to do. What is it now you're really passionate about? So with me knowing that very few people out there, health providers or otherwise, know how to get the cells turned on immediately, know how to get people immediate sleep without some drug or herb or whatever. They don't know how to do that. so knowing and having so much joy in seeing the result, that was my passion. So learning how in a couple of sentences, when people say, what do you do? Well, they don't care that I'm the water doctor. They don't care that I've done. No, if you've had problems sleeping, suffer from fatigue or exhaustion, I take 5 minutes and I make sure that person has the best night's sleep that night than they've had in months or years. And I show them 5 simple steps to make it permanent if they choose. And I mean, that right there, learning how to say that, I get 9 out of 10 people say, can you do me now? Isn't that exciting? So I think more than most people, I've mastered how to help people get to that point a lot faster than it took me. And it's really good because it helps people understand the real worth that they have, no matter how seemingly insignificant, or here's the best part, the most important part of what is their passion is sometimes what they think is not important to anyone else, and it is, or it wouldn't even be their passion.
And I think that's the thing that I was trying to touch on when it came to being an author, is that a lot of people have a message to share that is so important, and they don't even realize how significant that message would be if they had the opportunity to write a book. And it may not be just for, obviously we know that there is a monetary aspect to becoming a successful author, but I think this is more about people who have a message to share and a powerful message to share just to start out with. And the technique that people can use to kind of
rarely produces wealth. That's rare. I mean, those are the like any profession, the great author. A book is your credibility.
Right.
A book is it shows that you have put in print what you want to communicate. You might not even do it well, but it's credibility. The real proof is whatever it is you're doing, does it really have a beneficial effect on people and for people?
Right.
And a lot of people would be amazed, and this is what happens when they've been trying to do something, particularly in building their business, and they're not getting anywhere. And I like working with them and getting them to understand you got to be yourself. People try to be other people.
Right.
People think there's a way you have to be. Well, there may be ways you have to think, but you want to do that and remain who you are. So I love getting people to be who they are because, when you speak in a way that people can relate to, and they'll relate to you if you are who you are, and you'll bring people to you who want who you are. And if you're not who you are, if there's no congruity between who you are and what you're doing, people get mixed signals.
Right.
And you sense that, they sense that, but you're not even aware that that's the problem. When you're genuine, you will get the message across. And, once again, for me, that's just a pure joy, getting people to be authentic, and yet I get all the credit for doing all this marvelous work, and all I've done is let them just be.